So if you know anything about us here at Fourth Long, you would know that from the day one, from ever since it was announced, we were huge fans of the XFL and the XFL making its return this year in 2020. Unfortunately, there were some things that went wrong with the season, mostly related to a whole pandemic. But nonetheless, we were able to interview and sit down, have the opportunity to talk to the cornerback coach of the Houston Roughnecks. May I add the uncrowned XFL champions, Houston Roughnecks, but we were able to talk about what it was like when the XFL was playing, the future of the XFL, some stuff related to the NFL, and a whole lot more. I had a great time during this interview. Lots of thanks to Coach Derrius Bell for being able to sit down and take his time to talk about this, and I hope you guys enjoy. What was it like when this league was first coming back, and what was it like getting into the start of this pretty much new league?
I mean, it was exciting. I mean, I think everything leading up to that point before the season started was first class. I thought we had first class leadership from Oliver Luck. I thought that they went out and hired very notable name coaches to make the league feel more legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the TV deals was great. You know, the media outlets and uh, production and the way that we were being exposed to the country. I thought everything was first class. I thought everything about it was good. It was just unfortunate. The coronavirus, shut us down halfway. But I think that most of the fans were really starting to be engaged, and that's one of the main reasons for why somebody like The Rock would come back and want to restart it. Because of the hype and the excitement. And if we want to halfway through, you never know what the championship game was going to be like. But everything leading up, will make you believe that it was going to be pretty exciting.
There was nothing that would say otherwise, really. And it's not like the league was doing bad, or it likely was going to do well that year. They were looking at revenue projections of over 20 million, which
Mm-hmm.
is pretty good for a first year back. Way better than when they first tried to start this thing in 2001. There
Yeah.
was a lot of success. There was a lot of really good things that came from the XFL too. Not gonna lie, I loved how almost interactive and personal it felt from being able to have almost all the players mic'd up. The instant
Mm-hmm.
sideline interviews, having the
Mm-hmm.
coaches mic'd up as well. What
Yeah.
was it like, kind of being under that thing where it almost unprecedented levels of kind of insight to the game? Was it weird being like that mic'd up and that kind of
Yeah.
public?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a few moments that we definitely, as a coaching staff, had to catch ourselves. We had an instance during week one, and I remember vividly, I had to go and tell the defensive coordinator to hold it down because he was a much older guy named Ted Cottrell,
Yeah.
and he had already forgot about how much access we was giving to the media, and he was finna rip, like he was finna completely rip the defense. And so I walked up to him like, Coach, wait, you on TV? And she said, you know what? I'll get back to you guys. But all in all, I really thought that was good too. Once we started to realize and kind of get, the understanding that you got to watch what you're saying,
Right.
you know. But yeah, I mean, it was a good deal. But one thing that kind of went unnoticed with the interaction with the fans was I never been to a pro game to where pregame you had fans actually on the field with the players. Like they could be as close as basically the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really good, gauge for younger kids trying to make it to a pro level, really seeing how big these dudes are, seeing how fast they move in pre. Now, once the game started, they had to go back into the stands, but
Mm-hmm.
I never saw that before. And I thought that was real. I mean, I remember we was going to play Tampa Bay, and I was just playing pitch and catch with a kid right before my guys came out, in the warm-up line. So, I mean, it's stuff like that that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of priceless, and that I thought was really, really well done.
As a kid, that's super cool, but that's also really smart, I guess, from a almost like a PR and marketing perspective, where you're really like bringing fans super personal into the game, and that could
Right.
definitely bring a lot more people on board. And I think that's really smart of
Yeah.
what the league was doing. Oliver Luck is one hell of a football mind when it comes to running a league, running teams, and marketing.
Yes, yes.
I
Did a
think,
really good job.
yeah, I think one of my favorite things I saw him do is one of my favorite parts. I know it wasn't the Roughnecks, but it was the DC Defenders. How they,
Yeah.
how they had the beer snake in the crowd.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah,
what other league would you have the commissioner of the league come in and add
yeah.
to the beer snake?
Yeah, yeah, that was good. I mean, it again goes to show how personable he was. I mean, I met him quite a few times,
Mm-hmm.
and he was always just a really nice, personable person, and he understood the atmosphere. He understood he was trying to build a league and get fans to stick around and stay. So why not, add a beer to it,
Right.
So it made sense to me.
Never see Roger Goodell do something like that now, would you?
No, no, no. Roger ain't gonna do that. No,
Roger.
no. Not necessarily. He don't really necessarily have to do it either. I would give him, credit for that. That league been standing for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and Oliver was trying to build something. So I understand.
Yeah. Now there's a difference between if we want to talk about and like kind of focus on that. There is a solid, huge difference really between the NFL and the XFL. It was almost like did you ever really think that just I guess truthfully, is there ever a time where we could actually see the XFL compete with the NFL, or is it always going to kind of be not in the shadow but just not at the same level?
Man, the only reason how I feel like that could ever take place financially, you have to pay players
Mm-hmm.
to the point where you could possibly take some of those kind of guys. If that never happens, then no, you would never in theory compete with them because all the big time players gonna go where the money is. And so,
Exactly.
could you technically do it? Yes, you could. I mean, it's been done before. Back in the USFL day, they had guys, big name guys, going to play away from the NFL. So it has been done, but at the same time, they were paying multi-millions of dollars as well. They was playing in the spring. They were paying multi-millions of dollars for those guys. And so, I mean, I guess it could be done, but unless you get to that point, it'll always be a backup. But with that being said, still quality play football. I thought some of those athletes that was in that league were just as good as guys in the NFL, needed a little more film, needed a little more, notoriety.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they got back there. And so it's going to be quality football, but, the main thing that will make you compete with the NFL will be, finances.
And with that quality of football, that was one of the things that was, I guess, I wasn't really surprised by it because I was expecting there to be talent based week just from name value. There was a lot of really good players in the XFL, but it was just nice to see almost my guesses justified in a way to like a lot of people doubting it. But then we've had tens and tens and tens of players signing with the NFL, especially your very own PJ Walker, MVP PJ Walker. If we want.
Oh yeah, MVP PJ Walker. Yeah, PJ really great dude, really good player. I actually coached against him in college too. When we was at SMU, he was at Temple.
Yeah,
coached against him, and he was really good then too. Like we were not surprised. I remember me and June, we had a conversation. We were talking about taking quarterbacks. He was like, "I'm thinking I'm gonna take PJ." I'm like, "Coach, we need to do that." And just thankfully we did because that boy, he could really play in this show. And not just him. I had some secondary guys that got an opportunity. One of my guys went to the Cowboys, Savion Smith. One of them went to the Saints. Dietrich Nichols, he got released, but now he got picked up by the Miami Dolphins. And truthfully, I thought I was going to have more guys. We had 2 linebackers go. The Marquise Gates went to Minnesota, and then we had can't remember the other guy, but he ended up going to the Atlanta Falcons. He was number 51 for us. Man, it's slipping my mind right now. And that's just on our team. And we had a few offensive linemen go. We had I had a kicker go back to the CFL. We had another receiver go back to the CFL. I think the quality of play, and that's just on one team. We had, just going in and week out, we would do a scout report, and it was multiple players every week. Okay, when he was playing with the Giants, so he was playing with this and that. So it was plenty of guys that had already been in the NFL. I had a group of 10 players. All 10 of those guys had some time in the NFL. So that just goes to show the competition level, at least from our team, it was tight. It was tough week in and week out, making the decision on who was traveling, who was going to play. Like it was a real tight, tough road. So
that's a really good problem to have, especially in the first year of it. I was surprised. Like one of the biggest things. I know you're a defensive guy, but I think we could all agree. I might have a little bias for my offensive lineman, but almost like one of the biggest signs to talent level and seeing how well a team can do is how quickly that offensive line kind of plays together.
Yeah.
And we
Hmm.
could see that from we saw a lot of teams built to have that from week one. And that
Hmm.
was probably like one of the biggest question marks is how are these offensive lines going to do? And
Yeah.
they impressed. And
Yeah, they did a good job. I mean, and that's really the truth. The offensive line is always the biggest gauge on the quality of football you will see. I think between the offensive linemen being better than what most people thought, and then the quarterbacks being athletic, really helped those guys do well. That's why some of the top teams in the league had some of the more athletic quarterbacks. PJ Walker, uh, Jordan Ta'amu, even the guy from LA, he started to come around guys that could really help the offensive linemen as well, but they were at the same time better than what was expected for sure.
mhm. And that it was just a blast. But like when the league was still going on, we had a lot of praise on our show about the XFL. For other things, we were talking about the interviews, talking about like the halftime access, being able to be into the locker rooms, being able to
Yeah.
see the position conversations that the coaches were having with the players, and that was a blast of fun. Then also, um, the I think one of my favorite parts was like the officiating and
Mhm.
how we could actually see the replay official actually walk us through, the rulings and stuff like that. And it was almost just I guess the transparency of the league. So
Mhm.
what was it
Yeah.
like being able to be in the league that was it as so it was transparent to the fans? Was the league transparent with like the coaches and the players and staff as well with the operations and kind of like
Yeah.
the decision
I
making?
mean, we will be seeing the same things you guys were seeing. I'm not understanding if I'm answering the question, but if you're talking about specifically about the referees,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we would see exactly what you guys were seeing. And so that was good to get the ideal or the thoughts behind whether a play was complete or incomplete or whatever the case may have been.
Mm-hmm.
I think transparency is really good, at times, and it also showed flaws too. Like if they were like, "What?" Like
Yeah,
I can't
right.
believe you saw it like that. But at least you understand what's going on. It's not just coming out of nowhere.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
some dude in New York that we have no idea who's making the calls like the NFL
Right.
just coming up with some random call that pisses everyone off.
Right. 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 Yeah. I mean, I agree. Yeah.
You had a great point. Like, it might be a call that we disagree with, but at least we know their thought process. So that makes it
Correct.
not as bad, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think the NFL, and I don't want to speak for the NFL. I'm nobody, but I think that they saw a lot of things that they liked as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know the kickoff rule was something that they really thought hard about. I'm not sure what they would ever do with transparency with the refs, but I don't see why not. I don't think that would hurt the game in no way. I
Mm-hmm.
think a few things that we did, specifically that kickoff rule, I know it was talked about a lot.
What do you
The
think
way.
about that? Because I was really hesitant on it, but
Yeah,
on paper it was weird. But like actually seeing it in person and seeing it actually be used, I thought
yeah.
it was a really good kind of compromise between not taking away the kickoff rule but making it safer. What were your thoughts on that?
Initially, we all as a staff didn't really like it, but we started jotting down schemes. The special team coach, Dennis McKnight, he was just like, I want everybody to just kind of jot down what you think we should do with this because it's new to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows. And so we jot down, everybody had two or three thoughts. We came up with what we thought was the best. We got together as a staff and it ended up being one of our favorite deals. Like we ended up really enjoying it. Like, it was very creative. Some of the ways that you would have to think about how to return and set up walls and leverage and angles.
Mm-hmm.
And even on the kickoff side wasn't really that different because you just kind of further along down the field. But the kickoff return side was the side that was a little more scheming and game planning. But after a while, I know we had one of the top return teams in the league as well. It ended up being fun for us. Really did.
And then let's talk about some of the other rule changes. That was is the XFL was almost like I guess experimenting with some of
Mm-hmm.
this stuff and seeing how we could change the game, change the pace of it. And
Mm-hmm.
so talk about I guess from a defensive perspective, especially the point after plays, whether it be from the 10 yards you can go for a 3 pointer, from the 5 yard you can go for a 2 pointer, or from the basic 3 yarder you can go for the 1 pointer. What was it like having to scheme against that? And did you almost just keep kind of like a basic red zone defense in that, or
Yeah.
walk us through that?
Yeah, that basically what it was. I mean, we saw what teams did, and I took every 2-point play every week or whatever. Some play 2-point play, whatever extra point situation they would like to use, and we watched that in a completely separate clip. And but it really didn't change what we were going to do defensively. It was all about where they were going to get the ball. If they wanted to do it from the 10, we was going to run our 10-yard red zone defense. If they were going to get it from the 5, we was going to run our 5-yard red zone defense. And really the 3-yard and 5-yard are kind of the same. So it really didn't affect us defensively. It just gave us more opportunity to play red zone defense, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoyed it. I thought that it was a really, really smart and fun idea. And I thought that was another situation that, you know, probably will get adopted sometime in the future. You know, I enjoyed putting your best players on the field and having them, you know, get extra points in one way or the other. I really enjoyed when June like going for 3. At first, I think the defense was kind of winning a lot, you know, but I think the offense started getting it, you know, well, we didn't get that far in the season, but around game 5, you know, you can see offense is starting to catch up a little bit. So I thought it was a smart idea, but defensively, it didn't really change much of what we did at all.
And then, did this kind of other offensive change your defensive kind of scheme against with the double forward pass? We didn't see it too often, but when it was used fairly effectively. So what was it like having to practice against this and kind of game plan for this in case it happened in the game?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we get to come back. I used to talk to June about this a lot, specifically me and June, because being a secondary coach, you're the guy that's most at risk. And you know, I just always I don't really want to give it away because I don't know if we're gonna come back with the same rules.
No.
But it definitely affected the coaching in the secondary as far as we had to be a little slower before we rallied to the ball, knowing that they could possibly throw another pass. You know, with that being said, so yeah.
And then unfortunately, we never actually saw us in a regular season game, but I'm sure you had to practice with it, and that was the new rule, the overtime kind of changes with it going to more of a shootout and like a kind of just almost like a kind of hockey kind of overtime. So unfortunately, we never saw in the game, which was a little disappointing. Hopefully next season, which we'll talk about in a sec. But what was it like practicing with this and trying to scheme up? Did it change overtime play at all?
Well, overtime play again. We never saw it, but we did have to practice it. We scrimmaged against one of the teams, and we got to use it. I mean, it was cool. I can't remember the specific rules on the overtime, but I do know it was a shootout situation. I know if the defense, if we got a fumble or if we caught an interception, we could not return it. It really didn't matter. It was just they either get a point for getting the ball across the line or not. I don't remember the exact yard line.
It was on the 5-yard line. It was 5 rounds of it.
Yeah, 5 rounds. I mean, it was cool. I mean, I thought it would have been another great change up. And it's a way that, you know, you give both teams a fair chance to, you know, shoot it out. And, you know, sometimes with the NFL rules, you feel like you got robbed a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think that they have fixed it now with the way that they do it now. It used to be first person score a win.
Then you gave like a 50-yard field goal to end the game. Super anticlimactic.
Yes, and so I do think that they have fixed that in a better way. Now, if you get a field goal, the other team get an opportunity to go down and score as long as you don't give up 6 points at first. But with this, it's similar to college in the way that it's fair on both sides. And so I'm kind of a fan of that. And, you know, again, you get your best 11 players the opportunity to win the game. So, yeah.
Exactly. And then I have always enjoyed the college overtime rule more. I think it's I guess not necessarily fair because I do believe that the NFL one's fairly fair. Like if you want to be on offense, make a defensive stop. It's you got to be able to play both sides of the ball.
Right.
But college is super fun. I've been in a couple shootouts myself, going to like 3-4 overtimes, and that's always super exciting. So personally, which one did you prefer? You prefer the college style or the NFL style?
Yeah, currently I would have to go with college. Yeah, I would have to go with college. I think that the other team need an opportunity to score, and if they, you know, if they can't score with that opportunity, they lose, you know. And you know, I gotta say this though, I do like the way the NFL has went now. Initially I didn't used to like it at all.
Yeah.
I didn't used to like it at all. I do like it way more now. The fact that if you get 6 points, the game is over. If you get 3, the other team get an opportunity. So that's not really as bad anymore either. But I would still probably lean towards college all in all.
Mm-hmm. And then we all know you had your career at SMU. And so when you're a player, did you ever get caught in like any sort of these shootout in overtime, super close stuff?
Oh
Were you
yeah,
able-
oh yeah. My first 2 years in college, I probably played 6 or 7 overtime games. We was terrible on defense. We could score like no other. We were probably averaging 30 points a game, but we was giving up 30. And so we found ourselves in many. I mean, if you would go look back at 2007 and 2008, I guarantee it was probably 7 or 8 overtime games played between those 2 years. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's probably most in the country over that time span.
I'd be willing to bet at least like top 3.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's a little nerve wracking, but it's pretty fun
Yeah.
to be in overtime.
Oh yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's crunch time, it's clutch time, prime time players step up, whatever. With all the sayings that need to be said, big time players make big time plays, big time situations. That's it. Like that's the big time situation. So I didn't have any problem with it. Wish we could have just won straight out some of those games though.
Of course, save the blood pressure a little bit,
Yeah. So
And,
it is what it is.
and now let's kind of talk about the potential future of the league. So a couple weeks ago, we had The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and among a team of investors go out and buy the league when it went for auction pretty much after Vince McMahon a number of months ago had pretty much announced bankruptcy with the league. We saw a little bit of drama with like some former kind of members of the XFL organization trying to dispute it because they didn't get their money from the bankruptcy. Whole bunch of, I guess, legal drama that honestly I'm not well versed on. I'm more the actual football, not the legal stuff. But long story short, The Rock is one of the owners of the league. And so, where do you see the future of the league going? Are we coming back? Are we going to have another big season? Have there been talks already?
Oh, I'm hopeful that we do come back. I don't know. I just know that they're still kind of dealing with some of the legal deals. I know it's a big date, August the 21st. I think that's this Friday coming up. But I'm optimistic. I'm looking forward to new ownership. I think that The Rock, with his football playing background, and then with his successful business ventures, whatever he has done has been successful. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. I think he got a really good perception across the country. I think a lot of people like him, and I'm looking forward to see what he could do with the league. I'm looking forward to see if he keep a lot of things the same, or if he changes a lot of things. So I'm optimistic about coming back. Hopefully this COVID stuff kind of slows down and lets us get back out there and do what we want to do.
I am sure us sports fans, any kind of citizen, is crossing our fingers and hope that next year's a little more normal, shall we say, and we can see the return of it. I am super optimistic. I love the fact that The Rock bought it, considering his story, his ultimate underdog story, how he didn't make it in football. He had like some time in the CFL, but never really made it. We all know the story. He has a man with like $3 in his pocket, and now he's one of the most. He's probably he is the most paid Hollywood actor of all time, and so it's a true underdog story. So, and I love the fact that what I loved about the XFL is that it gave players kind of a second opportunity to make it big. Whether they were coming back from the NFL, whether they never got good looks at college. And so that was one of the cooler parts. And so I'm sure that The Rock is going to do something great with it. Also, you have the personality of The Rock as the owner, so that has to be exciting.
Yeah, I mean that's a big deal. I've been a Rock fan back when he was wrestling. I was a young guy at the time. I used to do the people's elbow and everything. Rock bottom. I felt like I was him when he was going against Stone Cold, and I love Stone Cold. So big personality, and I know a lot of people like him, man. And I know, even when he into movies and all that kind of stuff, everything he's touched been successful, and so I'm just hoping that he continue the right way as far as XFL goes with that.
And it's not like the XFL kind of left off on a back foot. In fact, you guys are almost building momentum before the league was canceled, whereas like fan support as well. Those Houston games over, you guys played at the University of Houston. Those games
Mhm.
are fairly packed, along with
Yeah,
the
we had
ones
a
in
great
Seattle
crowd.
and DC and stuff like that. So, what was it like having that fan support almost from the get go?
It was beautiful. Actually, it was shocking, to be honest. Like, I thought, our team president Brian Michael Cooper did a really good job hustling, going out, getting posters put on trains and buses, and having them drive around the city and building a fan base out of nothing. I mean, I can't imagine really how hard that is. It also goes to show the love for football in specific states as well. You look at Texas, we always been known as a state that love football and going to
Mm-hmm.
show up. We had a
Always.
really good crowd. They were loud. St. Louis had a very, very good loud crowd. Seattle had a really, really loud, good crowd. Um, I was surprised even about the Tampa Bay crowd. We went out there, and it was loud. It,
Mm-hmm.
it, it wasn't as full, but they were rocking. You can tell the love for football is all over, and don't just have to be in the fire. You can tell that those people that came out and supported. And then as we continued to win, we would have meetings. Some of our media guys would come and tell us, y'all got to be more prepared this week because we're gonna have this, and they siphoning off tickets and all this kind of stuff. So all in all, it was a beautiful thing, and I know that's the type of momentum, hopefully the new owners would like to continue to build off of it. You don't want to, have that die out and then try to rebuild it. It's right here, it's ready to go. And so hopefully, we get going.
Mm-hmm. And what's nice is that there's still the fan support, like on places like Twitter, like the XFL Reddit and stuff like that. That's how we got in contact because saw you liking and retweeting some of my stuff on Twitter, which was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
great shout out to the biz. It was about the was it the Texas Throwdown, which was easily my
yeah.
favorite game of the season. That was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. So can we talk about that for just a quick second? What was it like having it was a rivalry game, Houston versus Dallas. It's the first year of it, so I mean, it's almost kind of it's not like a rivalry in the sense where it has like this background to it and like actual reason to hate besides just being opposing cities. But what was it like being in that atmosphere? Because it was a tough game.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, just about the XFL and liking tweets and probably like anybody who is in support of the XFL. I feel like we all kind of in this together. I mean, fans and coaches or ex-players, we all wanted to come back. We all want to, have something to write about or have something to do, coach, or whatever the case may be. So I'm very supportive of who supports the league and who support me, just like you support myself. As far as the Houston and Dallas rivalry, so I played at SMU, which is in Dallas. I'm
Mm-hmm.
from Dallas, Texas. So I always normally been on the Dallas side of the rivalry. We come down here, play against the University of Houston or play against Rice, something like that. I'm always been on the Dallas side. So it was interesting to see this side. But, it's a rivalry built out of nowhere. You could easily make this rivalry. You can go have a soccer team
Mm-hmm.
in Houston and a soccer team in Dallas. It's going to be a big deal. It's just people don't like each other for some reason. But it was I thought it was greatly built up. I thought the league did a really good job building it up. You had some of the more profile name guys from Landry Jones and Curtis Artis Payne, the running back they had up there, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about our guys from PJ Walker, to Sammy Coates, to many of the defensive players that we had, and it was easily built up. And a lot of the guys wasn't even from Dallas or Houston. It was just they could feel it. They could feel that energy, that hatred. And we went up there, and then the game even it lived up to what it was supposed to
Oh
be.
yeah.
So we kind of jumped out there. I think we had 3 interceptions that game. My guys did a really good job. We talked about a lot of things.
Yeah, you
And on
guys
top of
messed
that,
up Landry
I
Jones
coached,
bad.
yeah, I used to coach with Hal Mummy. I used to
Really?
coach with him in SMU. So we kind of had we kind of had a little leg up on him, and because he used to coach with us,
Yeah.
me, June, and all us back when we was at SMU. So we kind of had a leg up on him, and it kind of showed early, but they still fought, and it ended up being it probably was one of the better games I ever been involved with in my lifetime.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, how that game ended from an interception on a 2-yard line that was finna. I can't remember if we was gonna lose or if they were gonna tie it up, but it was super close, and it was a tip ball, hit a dude in the face, and dude catch it with one hand.
So
Come
good.
on, man.
I mean, they could have very well tied on that because it was only you guys only won by 7, and as we know, you
Right.
can score 9 points on one possession. So it really
Yeah,
did come down to that play, which was,
yeah,
oh man,
yeah.
that if I was having a good time when watching from home, you guys must have had a great time watching from the sideline.
Well, truth be told, while you actually in it, it's a little nerve wracking. But once you get to re-watch it on the back end, oh, it's a really good game. Really good game. It's even better when you win.
Oh, well, that's all you guys did. 5-0.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the uncrowned champs. Unfortunately, you guys were unable to finish the season. It was probably looking like, honestly, I was predicting something like Roughnecks and in St. Louis Battlehawks, because you guys also had a very competitive game as well. That was week 2, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, week 2. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 28-24, really close one right there.
That's
Great.
super tight.
They have a good team. They had a great team in St. Louis. It was fun. Jordan Talmu he was a great talent. Maybe no MVP Jay Walker, but he was very good in his own right. And so
Yeah.
there's a lot of really exciting games throughout that season.
The league did so many smart things. We had a few scrimmages before we actually got to game 1, and they went. We scrimmaged Tampa Bay, who was our week 3 opponent. We scrimmaged St. Louis, who was our week 2 opponent, and then we scrimmaged the LA Wildcats, who was our week 1 opponent. And so it was all purposefully done so we can have some type of familiarity before you just take the field with somebody, so you kind of know what's going on. Even though it was kind of generic, it still gave us a good clue of the type of players that we was going to be playing against. And, I really challenged my guys in those scrimmages, go out here and really give it your all, because we can't lose right now. Go really test these guys. Go see what they got right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, get in them. And so, long story short, we had a little bit of familiarity with the St. Louis team. They were a really good team. They were physical. They ran the ball well. The quarterback was super athletic. They did a good job with RPOs. They had a receiver, Pearsonell, that was a really good player, made big plays for him. And, I think a lot of people would have thought that it would have ended up being us in St. Louis in Houston, for the title. And I'm not, a lot of things could have happened, but, it was kind of leaning that way. We had a tough week coming up with the New York team. They had some really stout running backs, and it was going to be a tough battle. We was going to fly up there before it got closed down. But
yeah, that New York team was interesting because they had like kind of highs and lows. They had shutouts. They had put up a lot of offense. Beat up on the Renegades 38-12 in the last week of the season. But then there's other games where they just kind of don't show up. So that New York team was really interesting to me. So was that DC team where Cordell Jones and that defense started off really hot, and then they kind of just it was a sharp decline, which was
it fizzled out quite a bit. They started out looking really, really sharp, and I can't really speak for them. I don't really know what happened.
Yeah. Just
but
from watching it though, it was interesting. I think we could say. And so, a couple of things about this. We talked a lot great things about the league. And you personally, what did you like most about being a part of this first season of the XFL? What were your kind of favorite memories, your favorite changes in the league, or just all around good times that you had?
Man, I really liked everything. I liked the whole build-up. I liked being a part of something brand new. We talked about making history. We talked about being the first team in a brand new league and being able to make history by winning the championship. We didn't know we were going to be undefeated or not, but we was on pace. I mean, the guys that I had, they were all really, really good dudes. They came to work every day. Also being with a coaching staff that I'm very familiar with. I played for the head coach. I played under a lot of the coaches that I was coaching with, so that was good. And just the camaraderie of our team, the winning. I really don't have a lot of bad things to say. A lot about the league was great. And again, I don't have really a lot of bad things to say about how the league went. It was good. It was just unfortunate, from from COVID to just shut it down like that. That's really all I can say.
And now, if you were to, of course, the league did a lot of things right from top bottom to bottom level.
Mm-hmm.
What would you change if you could change anything once the league hopefully comes back in 2021?
That's a tough question, seeing how I really didn't disagree with a lot of things. I
Right.
mean, I really don't know. I thought it was did pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I mean, I really don't know.
That's
I
fair.
really
I
don't
just
know.
wanted to see what you had to think about that. And what impressed me the most, really, like I guess in off field stuff, was the
Yeah.
marketing of the league. They did
Mhm.
a phenomenal job with that. They had
Yeah.
me. I was just I'm just a football head, so I love seeing another league. Also, who can complain about springtime football? So if we
Right.
get year round football, man, I'm super
Right.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I feel like they did a good job with that. They picked a few markets that they thought that, they did a survey of how many fans were in specific places and wanted to see more football. Even
Mm-hmm.
LA, a lot of people didn't think LA guys were going to show up. They had a good crowd. I mean, obviously it's not an NFL crowd, but it's not like the NFL crowds be that thick. So they
Well,
had
it
a good
was kind of
crowd for
better
them.
than some NFL crowds. LA, the Wildcats have a better chant than the Chargers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I thought they did a good job. I really did. It's definitely building something from scratch. You don't know none of these players. You don't know none of these coaches. I shouldn't say you don't know the coach, but you don't really know who you're rooting for, and for
Mm-hmm.
you to come and show up on faith like that and really try to get involved, I thought they did. I thought every president, all the staff did a good job, and hopefully they bring these guys back and just get us going and start off. I mean, start where we left off.
It's going to. I have all the faith in the world and confidence that it's going to be a great league. From Oliver Luck down to the lower guys actually making things run. It they it was almost too perfect on how well that league was set up, especially from just a restart league.
Yeah.
That was nothing like how it originally was.
Right.
I know there were some people that were kind of sad that they didn't have the old style of the kickoff, how you had like people 10 yards apart run for the football.
Yeah, nah, ridiculous. Somebody gonna get hurt. I'm sure somebody probably did get hurt. And another thing that kind of went unnoticed is a team nine too. We had a team nine
Yeah,
that we
not
could pull players from,
not a
and
lot of
I
people
could.
kind of know about that. So you want to explain that a little bit, just in case people kind of forgot about it, maybe.
Yeah, Team Nine was a situation where you had 40 or 50 or so players that were just practicing. They were practicing in Dallas. They weren't on anybody's team at the time. We had to release some players, and then we had to give a list of who we thought were guys that should go to Team Nine. And so like your very next best players. Okay, they didn't make the team, but they right here the next best players. And so you would send them Team Nine. If anybody was to get hurt, you would know that you were gonna have somebody that was in shape that you could pull from, whether that be offensive lineman, defensive lineman, really didn't matter, whatever position it was. And I thought that was one of the more unique things too. I had never heard of that before, but that was Oliver Luck. He had did it before in Europe when he was, running that league, and it was a smart situation. It was just smart. Everything
Mm-hmm.
about it was smart.
Well, it's pretty much we could call it a second chance league, and then even had a second chance team where we had guys that had the talent. Sometimes they get injured at the wrong time. Just something goes wrong, or there's a
Yeah,
really good team like Evan Houston, and they're a great player, but that position that they're going for is just filled up. And so
right,
there's a lot
right,
of like reasons why people don't make NFL rosters for some of those
right,
reasons. A lot of time it's just I guess bad luck in a lot of cases. So it's nice to have that kind of backdrop in Team Nine where they could still play football, still collect a paycheck, and be
right,
right there just in case the team needs them. That was
right.
very smart of
And
the league.
and, and, the, and the thing about it was it was going to be dispersed. I think the week that we were playing, we were going to get our guys back that we had sent down there. So they was going to practice for 6 weeks or so. Then we was going to get all those guys back. I don't remember the details full in, but it was a smart situation. And again, it just goes to show, it's a lot of people want to play football. A lot of people love football. And again, the talent level on all these teams are really good. I'm just telling you. So
Well, there's a reason that kind of I guess the saying for the league was for the love of the game. You had that plastered everywhere, and that I don't know if you could really say it better. That's exactly what the XFL was for. And man, I'm thrilled to have this time to talk because I was a huge fan of the XFL. It was a phenomenal league. You guys are doing
Yeah,
great things down there in Houston, and me on the behalf of almost pretty much every single a lot of football fans, of course, every XFL fan is that we all got fingers crossed for 2021. Not
yeah,
just so we could watch it, but for the players, for the coaches like you,
yeah.
for it to come back. I have a lot of faith in it, and man, I can't wait to see the second return of the XFL happen.
Yeah, me too. And hopefully they stick around this time. Hopefully we don't have a pandemic, and hopefully everything is in line, man. I completely agree. My fingers crossed, just like yours, and I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate the time.
Of course. Now, where can we find you on Twitter if some fans want to reach out and stuff like that?
At Coach Bell XFL, that's my Twitter, and so I'm pretty active on it. I check it daily, And again, if you're supportive of the XFL, it's like you supporting me, and hopefully, and you're supporting the league. And so, I'm you follow me, I follow you. It don't matter. So, I got love for everybody. So, yeah,
That's what one last thing. That's what I love about the XFL. It's almost more, I guess, niche than the NFL. It definitely feels like a entire community. It feels like the community you feel with a specific NFL team is what you feel league wide. And man, it's always cool to see people walking around with XFL shirts and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I see you, man.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know
You'll
what's
walk
up.
around here in Houston with a Houston Roughnecks gear on, like, man, you guys are so good. Like they still want it. They still want their football. So hopefully, again,
Well,
this
we need
COVID is gonna back off of us, and we gonna get it going. I'm faith. I have faith in it.
we need to see the season come back just so we can see Houston win the championship that you guys rightfully deserve.
Yeah, yeah. We just gonna get it. Hey, we gonna get it back going. We gonna get it rolling.
Well, thank you, Coach. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the XFL, and of course, best of luck to you. And we're going to get the XFL back. I have 100% confidence on this. It's
Yeah,
going to happen. It's going to happen, right?
yeah.
But
Most definitely, most definitely.
thank you for your
I
time and
appreciate
thank
it.
you for your insight on the XFL. I know a lot of people have these questions about it, and a lot of people just dying for more XFL content. And so I
Mhm.
thank you for bringing it to us.
Yes, sir. No, no doubt. No problem. No problem. Thank you. Anytime.